Welcome back. Let's start with the rest of the three proposals. The deficiency theory we started already, which proposes deficiency of elements in the body is one of the effects of toxemia. That means during the toxemia, the elements within the body will undergo a natural orchestration. That means something will go up, something will come down to adjust and maintain the homeostasis. Now, what about meeting these deficiencies? How the body are expected to meet up these deficiencies? Should we use a supplement or not? This is a big question to meet up those deficiencies. Now, the proposal here is the body can transmute and synthesize the needed elements. The body can transmute and synthesize the needed element. What does it mean? Transmute means converting one element into the other element. Converting one element into the other element, and synthesizing means mixing many elements to convert it to one needed element. So these two characteristics are programmatic in all the organisms. Now, is it an assumption? Is it an idea that is being proposed? Or do we have some evidential support of this? Now, the evidences are, we eat mango, the same mango gets converted into the heart, into the brain, into the lungs, into the fingers, into the hand, into the eyes, into the ears, whatnot. Who does it? Our body does it. Our body transmute and synthesize the elements within the mango after the assimilation, then gets it converted to the needed shape, needed materials, needed elements, everything. A baby drinks white milk and poops yellow. Who converts this color of the substance? The internal transmutation and synthesization capability converts these. So this is one thing we need to understand. And now, if we talk about the elements that we get, if we give ourselves or the organism give itself the natural elements, then all the natural substance, then all the natural substance do have the same thing inside. Which are those? Those are radiation, air, and water. In this galaxy, if we talk about, we identify two types of organisms. One is the autotrophs and other is the heterotroph. Autotrophs are those organisms which synthesize the radiation, air, and water and produce their own food. And heterotrophs do synthesize the external radiation, air, and water, but that do not suffice. That's why they need the solid substance. And that solid substance comes directly or indirectly from the autotrophs. So autotrophs are the greens, plants kingdom, and heterotroph are like us, those who are directly or indirectly dependent upon the plants. Now, we all do have this transmuting and synthesizing capability. The plants also do synthesize radiation, air, water and produces their food. And the mangoes are also produced by synthesizing radiation, air, and water. And that synthesized radiation and air and water are consumed by us. So be it a mango and orange, both do have radiation, air, water in different proportionate maybe. And we do have the capability of synthesizing and extracting the needed material from whatever we consume if it is supported by our voice of the organism. So the only condition, this has to be palatable to us. So the rationales of discarding the deficiency theory as proposed by the medicals are these two. The rationales of proposing deficiencies as effect of disease, not cause, are these three. First of all, food wise, everything has got everything if it is natural. So be it mango, banana, or orange, it has got everything. So during the previous session, I think Kaushik was asking that if we don't like some fruit specifically, do you have to enforce ourselves to eat it? Absolutely no. Whatever is supported with your voice of the organism, you just check for the source. The source should be from the nature and supported by your voice of the organism. It has got everything. It has got everything because it is supported by your voice of the organism. That means it is an indication that now the organism can extract the needful element. So as per its requirement, try to read this particular proposal very minutely. As per its requirement, organism's requirement, an organism extracts anything out of anything. So first proposal is everything has got everything, and second proposal is anything and out of anything, this extracting capability, which is natural and supported by the voice of the organism. So let us read once again. I think some more annotations were there, so it was not readable. So first proposal is everything has got everything if it is natural. Second is, as per its requirement, an organism extracts anything out of anything which is natural and supported by the voice of the organism. And that is what is the transmuting and synthesizing capability that we talked about. So now supplementation. Supplementation is a suppression, obviously, and cannot be claimed to be a cure. Now, any question or any reservation in identifying this?
So I
Yes,
just
Rashmi.
wanted to know if, so this is an ideal situation, right? Where you are accessible to sunlight, where you are in sync with nature, you are living a natural life. But I mean, practically speaking, these days, hardly we live in nature. We hardly even, walk on mud because we are in high-rise buildings and apartments. And so practically, if that is not possible, that we are actually getting enough sunlight and we are exposed to the nature enough, will our body still be able to transmute anything to anything?
No. But that doesn't justify the external supplement anyway. Will not be. Body will suffer the deficiency, but that cannot be covered up with the supplementation. What you are proposing, that if the individual is leading an unnatural life, will still the body be able to transmute and synthesize? Answer is no. Cannot be. But that doesn't justify the external supplementation, because external supplement neither is identified by the body. Guys, I was actually having a network issue. Am I audible right now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you hear my proposal, Rashi, at that point?
Yes. You just said that, yeah, it is, you can't justify
Yes.
the use of supplements even if you're not in nature.
Yes. So do you identify this?
Yes, but I mean, I don't know if it's a solution to people who are
What do you call
unable
a
to
solution?
have
What do
access.
we call a solution? If suppression is considered as a solution, then supplementation could be a solution. If suppression, because mostly suppression. Yes.
So can I say something?
Yes.
I think in one of the earlier sessions, you said that it could be that if something is not, say out of air, water, radiation, say radiation is something which we are not able to get optimally, then it could be that from the elements that are other elements, we are able to partially at least compensate.
Yeah. So
Is
whatever is receivable, with that body will try to adjust with it at most. That's for sure. Now the question is whether the individual is identifying the stimulation of his life or not, or suppression of his life or not. Then only the sustained reversal is possible. What you are saying, that's already proposed, like transmutation and synthesizing aspect, that body will transmute the available nutrients and synthesize the available nutrients and convert it into the needed elements. That's at most it will be possible. But if the individual is exposed to the stimulation and suppression consistently, then it is very tough for the body to revive consistently. For some time, some kind of things. Yeah, Menu want to come in. I think. Yeah, Menu.
Yeah, sir, I was saying that like there are 10 factors. If we are not able to do something in any of the factors, there are other factors where we can conserve vitality, right?
Yeah. But the individual must be identifying the importance of conservation. End of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. That is anyway a precondition to everything that we are.
Rashi, you want to share something on this, on the raised point of yours? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of people, who are living in countries where there is no sun for 6 months.
Yeah.
How does their body actually transmute, and how do
Yeah.
they, like, this is something
It's a compromise. It's a compromise. They are actually, they ideally should shift from that that environment, because environment is a factor which we need to identify. And Rohit, would you like to share something? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So Rohit, what is the importance of the environment? Because you are an ideal.
Yeah. So I was living in Delhi for around 25 years before I moved to Pune. And the pollution levels were quite high most of the time in Delhi, and especially in the winter season, it was almost unbearable. So me and my family, we were when we thought about it a lot, and then finally we made the plunge and we identified Pune as a city to move to. And here we definitely find the air to be much purer. Particularly the part of Pune we are living in also is very green. It's the Pashan NDA area, so that is also very green and very breezy. So that's why the air quality is really good. And I'm really, every day I do not forget to appreciate the new environment that I'm in. And it took us a lot of there were a lot of compromise and things, right, in terms of moving to a city after 25 years, new city, completely new city, no friends, no relatives there, everything is new. So but I'm totally in gratitude with this new place I am in. So yeah, so
right. So all in all,
really took a plunge on
yeah.
this.
Thank you. Thanks, Rohit, for sharing this. So Rashi, it's not possible for everyone to take this plunge. We identify that. But we have the liberty of having this 10 factors which we are going to discuss. Out of the 10 factors, we can choose to bring a lot of change in the lifestyle without shifting the environment also. But the kind of environment which is unavoidable has to be identified. If there is no sunlight, then it has to be identified as a compromise in the living. Okay. And that cannot be supplemented externally in any case.
But even in this scenario, the body will not be able to transmute, right?
Because so body with other supports, body does transmute and do the stuff, but a little extra vitality will be engaged for that. That's okay, undeniable. So shifting of the environment can help us to conserve that portion of energy which is engaged in this transmutation and synthesization.
Okay, and if they don't shift anywhere, then they are bound to have some or the other issues
or
in some way or-
extra engagement of vitality to manage that situation, because body will end up managing if it is supported in
Okay.
other areas, you know.
Hmm. So is this why also the animals move like the migratory birds? I'm just like,
Yes,
thinking
yes,
aloud.
yes, yes, yes.
Is this the reason, like,
Absolutely,
because they are
absolutely.
looking for these 10 factors, maybe not the last three because they don't
Yeah,
probably,
without knowing the mathematics, they definitely do that.
they do naturally. Okay, that's interesting.
Right. So, guys, last two factors, last two proposals out of these seven proposals, seven general proposals. So, suppression complicates the health. We identified that chronification, the stages of disease, how suppression leads to these kind of complications of health. So, stopping a disease symptom, any disease symptom, if we are not allowing it to complete, then it gets converted from an acute into a chronic state, and that chronifies and complicates the health that we have identified. The theory of toxemia, the theory of toxin accumulation is the theory of toxemia, which you have already covered. The understanding of energy and health clarifies the correlation, the connection of energy and the health, and its understanding clarifies the proposed points, all the proposed points. If we understand the toxemia, how toxemia happens to us, happens to the organism, then every other points are well connected, we can identify. So with this, we identify that the cause do have different kind of symptoms. If we experience symptom 1 and suppress it, then the symptom 2 comes up. Then symptom 3 comes up. The story goes on. And now the same slide is converted. The cause is replaced with toxemia, and different symptoms are replaced with different names of the disease. Infection, deficiency, headache, diabetes, heart issues, and there could be millions. The names that you recollect can be placed around as effect. So if we suppress one symptom, that gets converted into other symptoms. So there is no difference between the diabetes and hypothyroidism, and deficiency, and infection, and heart disease. All are different phases of toxemia. Now, toxemia. Toxemia is a state of thickened blood, thicker blood. So increase in the density of blood is one characteristic, one property that we need to identify during toxemia. So during toxemia, what happens? The density of the blood goes up. Density of the blood goes up. Suppose a glass of water and I put 1 spoon of salt and mix it. So the salted glass of water and a normal glass of water, the density of salted glass will be higher, obviously. So because something extra is there. So that toxin, if it is extra there, then it leads to increase in the density of blood. Yeah, you want to comment something, Rashi? You unmuted.
Yeah, I just thought of, bringing in the scientific aspect to it, that the density is increasing in the blood because of excess of white blood cells.
So I don't know what to call scientific and what to not. Anyway, so now let's try and identify some scientific understanding here in terms of properties, not the parts as proposed by the medical science in terms of white blood cells and other elements of blood. Now, properties and parts are two different things. Properties comes from the whole, and parts are just part, not the whole. Now we talked about the density. The increase of density is observed in the blood. Now, this observation is definitely by not measuring the blood's density, but with some bodily identification, which is the body mass. The individual who is toxemic finds himself heavy. Now, what is the understanding of nature and life of this density? In any substance, lesser the natural water, the higher the natural density. This is an important understanding to identify the toxemic state. Now, lesser the natural water. What is natural water? Natural water, do you remember? We talked about osmosis. Osmosis, anyway, let me give little introduction or explanation of the osmosis, those who are new to this concept. Osmosis is a natural process, which is an open atmospheric natural process. Suppose two different densities of liquid are kept, and in between them there is a semi-permeable membrane. So semi-permeable membrane is a membrane which allows the particles to transact under certain conditions. So now what happens? This small d is lesser than capital D. That means the density of side A is lesser than side B. Now, atmospheric pressure on this side will be higher than this side. Both are open to the atmosphere. It's a natural movement we are talking about. So atmospheric pressure in side A is more than the side B, because the surface tension from this side is lesser because of the lesser density, and side B will push more to the surface side, and the atmospheric pressure will be exerting lesser in this side but higher in the side A. And due to the more atmospheric exerted pressure, the liquid will be moving from A side to B side. The lesser dense liquid will be moving towards the higher dense side because of the difference in the atmospheric pressure on the surface. Now, on this, actually, you can just go to the YouTube and click osmosis process. There are a lot of explanatory videos on osmosis process. So this osmosis process is a natural process of the transfusion. Now, any organism, if is claimed to have natural water, this is an important understanding of the natural density of any fruits for that matter, any vegetables for that matter. The fruits and vegetables contains this osmotic water. That is the most, the purest natural water we must identify. The water inside the fruits and vegetables is the purest, and all the needed nutrients are there already inside it. So the water in the fruits and vegetables is the purest natural water. Now, lesser the natural water, the higher the natural density. So in case of cashew nut, the natural water is lesser in comparison to the watermelon. So watermelon is less denser in compared to the cashew nut. Do you understand the difference between the natural water, the connection between the natural water and the density? Now, the natural water within us is around 60 to 70% in a healthy state. Now, what is the natural? How to identify what is the natural water in it? So through food, we consume natural water if it is available. In cooked food, in processed food, there is no natural water. It is gone, all gone. Extra water that we mix, That is not the natural water seeped inside the substance. That is not natural water. Now, whatever the extra water that we consume, whether that can be considered as a natural water or not, that's the question. Now, the identification of this water as natural water or not is the thirst, the voice of the organism. If without thirst, if we are consuming any quantum of water, that becomes unnatural burden on us. If we have thirst and we sipping water slowly, that becomes a natural part of our body, and natural water we consider that water. The voice of the organism, lead water, is the natural water. Now coming to the other properties, speed and heat. Speed is connected to density. If the density is higher, speed is lesser. Within a natural spectrum, higher the density, the lower the circulatory speed. So how to identify? The body movement is the identification. If we feel heavy, then it is difficult to move ourselves. It's very easily correlatable. Density and speed correlation. If the density is higher, which is identified by the body mass, if we find ourselves heavy, then we find ourselves difficulty in movement. And now coming to the correlation with the heat. Within a natural spectrum, higher the density, the lower the conserved heat. So heat is there's a comment from Shilpi, when thirsty is better to have juicy fruits or fruit juice instead of water. Juicy fruits, yeah, fruit juice, unless there is a problem in teeth, fruit juice is not recommended, and or you are very weak to chew. Juicy fruit is definitely a better alternative, because we are not very sure about the separate water that we have. Right. Coming back to the heat concept, within a natural spectrum, higher the density, the lower the conserved heat. Now, if this is very complicated language, it seems. Now, I'll just try to explain. If it is a solid substance, then density is lesser or higher. It is higher. Now, if you put heat into it, then the density gets reduced. So that means in a higher dense substance, the heat is lesser. When you put heat, then the density gets lower. So all in all, the density, the relation of density with speed and heat is quite similar. If the density is higher, then the speed is lower. If density is higher, then the heat is also lower. So heat conserved is conserved energy, equivalent to conserved energy. If we do not have much heat, then we do not have much conserved energy. That is the identifier. In the next 2 slides, these concepts will be further clearer. We are going to compare nature and life in terms of density, speed, and heat. See, in front of you, there is a spectrum. There is a spectrum. Both the sides of the spectrum, there are 3 letters, DSH, DSH. Density, speed, and heat, density, speed, and heat. In the left side, the density is lesser, speed and heat is the higher. And right side, density is higher, speed and heat are lesser. Now in nature, we have a few things form and a lot of things formless. Now formless are formless because the density of the formless is lesser. Density is lesser, that's why those are formless. And if density is lesser, then the speed and heat are higher comparing to the form. Now in the form, within the form, there are 3 types of entities: living, non-living, and artificial. Living is the organism. Non-living, there are a lot of non-living entities in nature, and there are a few entities which are man-made, artificial, plastics. Now in terms of density, speed, heat, we observe the living being to have lesser density than the non-living. and higher movement, higher heat. In the non-living substance, there is higher density, but lesser movement. Lesser movement means biodegradability. Biodegradability is lesser in non-living substance comparing to the living substance. And for the artificial substance, the biodegradability is missing. So density is too high. Speed is that movement towards becoming soil, biodegradability. That is almost missing. And heat is also missing. So no natural water, little bit of the natural water, and a lot of natural water in living beings. Now, if we focus on the living being, that means life, then in the same spectrum, we see the density and speed and heat, density, speed and heat plotted similarly. Now, birth and death, if we compare, then we find birth is lesser dense than the death, and speed and heat is available higher after the birth, but at the death, it is the least, the speed and the heat, the speed and the heat. Now, if we plot the life like this, then the health is lesser dense, the state of health is lesser dense than the acute disease, and a chronic disease, the highest dense state, lesser speed and lesser heat. Now, here you find a fragile and spiritual words written. Now, the state of spirituality is proposed in as per the pure nature, pure understanding, and this rationality understanding. It's a state of overall conserved vitality in all three domains of physical, physiological, and psychological. If we focus only on psychological domain on the name of spiritual, then that is a state of fragility. That is a state of fragility, because if we do not give importance to the physical and physiological domains for the conservation of vitality, then the health is compromised. And we see a lot of spiritual leaders dying pretty early in their age because of the compromise in this domain, and they opt fragility instead of overall spirituality. So all in all, I'd like to, yeah.
The point of spirituality, can I say something?
Yes, please.
So when we are saying about the spiritual people, so we don't know if they are the spiritual kind, like unless we know that they are in the inquiry mode or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely. If we claim that they have attained psychological calm state over time consistently, and there are claims come that they attained a lot of height of spirituality in terms of the psychological domain. If we accept that, then also the proposal is, if they do not consider the physical and physiological domains as important domains of conserving vitality, then it is a fragility they inculcate in that life. And there were some discussion in the WhatsApp group. We'll take up that after we resume. So we will end this session with this comment: depletion of vitality is the cause of disease, and conservation of vitality can reverse the disease. So we are joining with the same link in with 5 minutes of silence, and we'll continue our conversation. Thank you.